Hey everybody, Sam Crowley, Zach Crawford. We are live. Hold on one second. Let me just type into the chat. Zach, what's going on, buddy? Long time no talk.
Not too much, just back from vacation. Ready to fire things up with the Facebook ads and start scaling.
Every day's a vacation, though, isn't it?
Yeah, once you become an entrepreneur, it is.
So we were going to talk about welcome everybody to our Six Figure Saturday Hangout. Sam Crowley, Zach Crawford, and we had planned tonight, July 7th, to talk about Zach's Facebook ads that he's running, scaling up, dropping some serious coin on, but we have changed it up slightly. We want to give Zach, what, about another week or so you can really test it.
Yeah, another week or two to really dial it in because this is another new traffic source I'm scaling myself. So I want to make sure I have plenty of data to show people before I just I don't like teaching theory.
Yeah, teaching theory isn't good, buddy. You got to have results, man. You got to have something tangible to sink your teeth into. What are you doing though? Like, what do you give us an idea of what you're doing with Facebook ads, just from a conceptual point of view?
Well, for me, it's right now. It's all just it's just ads promoting the same stuff I've been doing, pretty much Mob and my coaching and stuff like that. But once I have it dialed in, I mean, this business is pretty much at this point where it's getting automated. So once I get in there, I'm going to start getting into the weight loss niche, dating niche. I mean, basically whatever people are buying, I'm going to be running ads to put it in front of them. One of the mentors I actually study under, basically, I was reading the other day, he was talking about something as simple as ClickBank. Is like once you can dial something in for $100 a day, it's about a minute change to dial it into $2,500 a day. So that's the direction I'm basically moving in. Like I want multiple little things going in all kinds of niches, and people don't even have a clue that I'm even in that.
Yeah, you and I talked a lot about that. That's what we're going to actually talk about tonight as well. Is some under the radar stuff as well. If you don't want to be the face of a brand or your business, or maybe you want to do some things and diversify your portfolio a little bit. A lot of what Zach and I are teaching inside the Six Figure Saturday is number one, the mindset of the entrepreneur, how to not be scatterbrained and chasing this opportunity, chasing that opportunity, and then not really monetizing and kind of, pitching putting your stake into the ground and doing well with one thing and then move on. I think what really I'm curious about your thoughts, Zach, but because you're in a few different business opportunities as well as your own products and things like that. When people hear the word chasing the shiny objects, that has kind of a negative connotation. People think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think once you get one business up and running, or at least you're making money with it, let's say if you're making a few $100s with it and something else comes and you want to make a few $100s with it, I'll give you an example. You and I were talking today. We had a mastermind call, and I was telling you I want to diversify a little bit into the website flipping, going out to Flippa, buying some sites, or building. I was going to build like 100 websites. I got a guy that can do them very inexpensively for me for about $150, $200 a site, and build them up, get some AdSense revenue, and either have 100 sites that are making $1,000 a month, or even if they're making $100 a month, 100 sites doing that is 10 grand a month. That's okay. I can manage that. That doesn't overwhelm me because I would outsource everything. I would just buy the asset and then have somebody else build it. But if I didn't have the money to buy the asset and outsource it, I would simply build the site, get it going, let it run. Build another site, get it going, let it run, and until I was doing it. But what do you hear, like when you say, Zach, why are you in? How do you even get all these different businesses? How do you not lose focus with that?
For me, I started with one and worked my way up. I don't suggest like the whole shiny object syndrome or whatever. It's just a common term that the industry has used for years, basically, where you get distracted. For me, I did the same thing. When I started buying products and stuff like that, just like everybody, and I was hoping the next one was going to make me money. And it wasn't until really I focused on one thing at a time and got that dialed in, and then added another. Like I have several programs that make me an easy 4,000 or 5,000 reoccurring, and I literally don't send an email about it. I don't promote it. It's one email, which is like when people opt into my list, they go through a training series where they learn basically how I run my business and how they can get up and running. And if people buy through that link, then it's like $100 reoccurring to me. If they don't, I don't promote it. Well, I'm one of the, like, I wouldn't say top leaders, but I'm midway up the leaderboard, and I have been since pretty much I went in there, and I don't even really put any effort into it. So I systemize things so that way, certain ones that I just want to get a few sales here and there so it pays for the program. Like when I went into that one, I never intended to be one of the top leaders, but now where I'm scaling traffic, I'll probably rise to the top of the leaderboard without even trying. and then that'll get me on stage where they'll have me talk and stuff like that. But I do one at a time. I don't go out there and buy like 5 programs and try to, okay, let me see if I can do this, I can do this. Like, once you understand how to generate traffic, then it becomes a thing where even with your email, you can send an email for a couple times about one program, and then you can send in a couple of emails about another program, and it's literally that simple. I mean, because not everybody's going to be interested in whatever you're promoting, whether it's weight loss or anything. I mean, even if you're in the weight loss niche, if you go send everybody to, let's say, How to Get Six-Pack Abs, the ebook on ClickBank, it's like one of the most popular products. Not everybody's going to resonate with that sales letter. They're just going to be like, something's off. But then you send them to another weight loss program, and they're going to be like, oh, that one looks good, and then they're going to buy that. So by not having multiple programs, go ahead.
Go ahead.
By not having multiple offers in whatever you're promoting at a certain point, you're really losing money, for the people that are on your list looking for especially in the business opportunity niche.
Well, let's talk about traffic, because that really is the holy grail. I'd like to focus on that tonight, because we're going to talk about the Facebook ads. We're going to do that next week, or maybe even the week after. We'll give it some time so you can get the results. But that's okay. I mean, that's just one source of traffic. Then we're going to deliver the goods on that. I want to talk about traffic in general, because everybody wants a list. You know what I'm talking about? Like, the only way you make money, and I'm not saying the only way, but without a list, you wouldn't make a lot of money. You know what I'm talking about? And somehow you were able to generate a list, not the biggest list in the industry. I don't have the biggest list in the industry. But how do you get, how did you start getting leads? Because that really is the holy grail. Let's say, I'm going to paint a scenario for you, okay? You're Zach Crawford. You have no internet marketing knowledge, except you bought this program, Six Figure Saturday, and you're starting to learn what's inside the video. So obviously you probably do have a lot of internet marketing knowledge because you went through the training. But you don't have a lot of money to spend on advertising and things like that. How do you get subscribers? Let's give some great content tonight somebody can sink their teeth into and say, okay, I feel better after being on the Hangout with Sam and Zach, because I think I know how to go get prospects that can look at my business and my offers and my products.
Okay, so for me, when I first started, it depends on where your budget's at. Like, if I was starting all over again, if I had money, I would do solo ads and Facebook advertising. If I didn't have money, I would do exactly what I started with, which was YouTube and blogging. And really, if I was starting all over, in the training I show exactly how I target the keywords and everything without having to spend hours on keyword research. But I would just go and get enough where I was generating steady sales here and there, and then I would start reinvesting my money into stuff like paid advertising, because if you want to scale, hold on one second.
There's some water there, buddy, or is that a beer?
No, it's not a beer. if you want to scale, as Sam's telling you, it comes down to the list. For every dollar you have, or every person you have on your email list, on average, you should make at least $1 per subscriber. I can tell you mine's more in the range of between $8 to $15, depending on the time that I average it. So when you're promoting high ticket products, the value usually goes way up, because usually when people are factoring in $1 per subscriber, that's like promoting something that you get like a $27 commission or something at best. But that should tell you right there. I mean, it's very easy math, and this is a business, and this is something I want you to understand, because like when you go into an offline business, and Sam can tell you, sometimes you're $50,000 plus out of pocket before you're ever even thinking about making a profit, and that's probably just getting you going. And a lot of times your money is dumped back into the business to keep it going. So it's no different with this kind of business, is that every dollar that goes out, I don't go out there and buy a lot of stuff. Like, I'm a very low-key kind of guy, and I dump my money right back into my business to keep scaling it out, because it's very easy math. I know if I want to make a guaranteed $100,000, and meaning a month, not just a year, I just need to build up 100,000 people on my email list, and I can promote anything. I mean, I could grab a ClickBank product, I could send out, a business opportunity, and I would have to put zero effort in. I could just like wake up at random times of the day, send out an email. So your only focus should be in that quick start training that I created in the membership site, where I explain to you that even if you're starting on a low budget, your only goal is to make back your money and keep reinvesting it. And if you're doing solo ads, and this is something I want you to understand, like when you're using something like a business opportunity, and this is where I think a lot of people fail, and they think that solo ads don't work. You have other affiliates who are going out there and they're trying to promote the same offer, so people are seeing it often. Most of your time, your sales come in on the back end. Once people are on your email list, you've emailed them 7, 14, 21 times, and you need to be emailing daily, because the more that people see you in their inbox, the more sales you get. Me and Sam talked about this morning about how a lot of people are kind of afraid to offend their subscribers. And I can tell you that somebody out there every single day of the week selling to them, and if you're not putting your offer in front of them, somebody else is. So for me, how I'm kind of moving to a SoLads is I'm going to create my own like low-cost product. And I know for some of you guys that may be intimidating, but you can find other affiliate products that are kind of rare and stuff like that, maybe on ClickBank or something like that, just to make back your money, like really low barrier to entry, because the lower the price point, the more sales you're going to get with SoLads. So for me,
we were talking, let me just stop because I want to bring up a point that you brought up a great point this morning. Okay. You were talking about Ryan Deiss, and he says for every X amount of leads, so many are going to buy your $7 product, your $47 product. One person's going to buy your $20,000 product. Walk me through that scenario again, because I thought that was pretty eye-opening. Because if you're going to spend $10,000 on traffic in the month of July, for example, people are like, well, I can't. There's no way, you know. So go ahead.
Okay, so here's the stats right here. This is just to show you how profitable an email list is when it's set up properly. Because I know most of you are probably thinking when me and Sam talk these big numbers, it's kind of frightening to think if you invested money. I can tell you right now, like me personally, if I got a $100,000 bank loan, for example, and I was going to buy real estate with it, and that's not knocking you, Sam, because I know you're a real estate guy, but if I was going to do $100,000 and invest in something like real estate, which I know is a lot of people like to do, I would invest it in an email list hands down because it would make me my money back within the first month. So
I agree.
This is from Ryan Deiss. Ryan Deiss is like one of the biggest, I would say arguably one of the biggest internet marketers out there with like Frank Kern and the likes. And he basically broke down the numbers. These are his numbers, but let's just say that you're a horrible marketer and you even got a fourth of this. I guarantee you're still going to be happy on the return. So if he spent and got 10,000 opt-ins, and let's just figure $1 a lead, or even if we figure high, $1.50 a lead, which we're talking $15,000 to generate 10,000 opt-ins. And that's even if you're horrible at your ads and everything. 2,000 people will buy a $7 product. Just what I was just telling you a minute ago about how I'm switching to a low, as Sam, you probably heard Sam say it in the last webinar. He calls it the Tripwire. Tripwire is just a small barrier to entry product. It's one problem, one solution. This is just to qualify them as a paying customer. So right there, say you spent 15 grand, and now 2,000 of those people bought the $7 product. You're only 1,000 out of pocket, and you've already almost broken even on your ad spend to build that big list. Now, 400 people, which is 20% of 2,000, will buy a $47 product. I'm not a mathematician, but you've already well into profit at this point. 80 people will buy a product up to $497, so that's 20% of the 400 people. And then 16 people, which is 20% of the 80, will buy a $12,000 product. 3 people will buy a $25,000 product, and 1 person out of that 10,000 will spend $100,000. So that's $439,560. Now just imagine if you only did a fourth of that because you suck and you're not a very good marketer. And I'll be honest, for me, I'm confident that I could probably do 3/4 of this if I set it up right. But even if you were brand new and didn't know anything, you just knew how to get people to the offer. Like if you just know how to copy and paste, done for you emails that the companies give you, you're going to make at least a fourth, I guarantee you, if you did it right. Because I'm telling you, my list is not huge. It is not. And even when like Sam finds out about it, he almost doesn't believe me.
I fall over. I literally fell over in my chair.
It really just comes down to how you position the offer and having decent emails. I can tell you right now, I don't know copywriting. I'm just now getting to the point now where, speaking of which, if you want to learn copywriting, I suggest you go out and right now on Amazon and get this book, Cashvertising. This is the only book you'll ever need to learn how to write, so that way people will buy from you. This book will be the best investment of your life. But I'm just now learning stuff like this. I copy people, guys. Literally everything I do. Like if Sam was out there killing it in the company that I wanted to do, I would subscribe to Sam's list. I would look at everything he's doing, and then I wouldn't question it and copy it. So basically, I bought SoLads myself, and I was building my list with SoLads, and then I started seeing people were buying SoLads from other people, and I started noticing that people were saying, Zach, you teach us how to do SoLads, but that stuff is a little over my head. How do I do it? And then I started seeing other big leaders were selling their own SoLad service. So I put 2 and 2 together that, hey, a lot of people want SoLads and they want to learn how to do it, but they don't know how to do it themselves, or they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, just in the last month, without even trying to market it, because I mean, honestly, I don't want to build this service up massively because, you know, to me, it was just kind of to help my list because they were asking for help with it. And putting it in the PS, you know, like at the very bottom of the email, I made $3,000 last month, and I haven't even sent a dedicated email. It's just like, and my emails are long. If you guys are on my list, some of my emails are like a novel. And that means they're reading all the way to the bottom, and then they discovered that I have this SoloLad service, and, you know, that's the power of it. That kind of sales went through. And just this weekend, I ran a special right before I went to the, you know, for 4th of July. And I thought about it all of 10 minutes before I left, like, oh, man, I should just run this just for the heck of it to see what kind of money I can make over the weekend. I made an additional $4,000 before I even got back home. And then that's not including the other, like, $3,000 I made from, you know, MOB sales while I was gone. And, you know, in theory, you know, most people can not even make anywhere close to that because they're not setting things up properly. But if you give enough value in your emails, at least to the point of light teaching where you educate people what direction they should go, then, you know, you don't need a big list like you think you guys do, guys. It's all about getting steady traffic and getting enough people in front of that offer. That's it.
You know, I typed into the chat. I just bought Cashvertising while you were talking.
Oh, that's it. How do I access the chat? Because I can't even see it. I'm just on the Google Hangout.
Yeah, you know that link you got in the email that you're viewing the page, the everydaysaturday.com/FS training. Hey, by the way, Dustin asked, and I was going to ask as well. Let's take a quick break. How's everybody doing so far? And I don't mean that when you ask how somebody's doing, that's kind of too open-ended question. What questions do you have? I want to know the same answer as Dustin, but I want to ask the question differently. Are you blogging? Are you generating traffic? Are you creating your sales funnel? Are you watching the videos inside of the training area? We're probably, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks into the program so far. And this is really exclusive training in the sense that we don't host Hangouts for anybody else. I mean, this is strictly for the people that purchased Six Figure Saturday at the end of May, beginning of June. And we've been having, this is our 4th one now. They're all archived inside the members area. This one will be as well. I just want to make sure you're using the content. Our goal is to get you to 6 figures online. Heck, get to 6 figures offline as well if you want to use the mindset principles that we teach inside there as well. 90% of this thing is mindset, though. I wish I could just give you a pill, you know, a lot of you, to give you the confidence that you need. You don't need any more knowledge. You just need the confidence that you can put together a product, a sales funnel. Think about what Zach was just talking about relative to those numbers that a certain percentage of people are going to buy your $7 product, and then 47 and 500 and 10,000. The only thing I would say is when I buy traffic, $1.50 a lead sounds really cheap. I've seen $2, $3, $4 a lead, and maybe I'm just buying them in the wrong places, you know?
Yeah, the thing is, and this is something that I try to explain to everybody, and a lot of times, especially with like SoloLads, or really any traffic source, you know, even when they do blogging. Blogging is probably, I would arguably say, the best lead source ever because of the fact that if you target the keyword right, they're already going into the mentality they want to buy that product. They're just looking for somebody to buy it through. However, the thing is a lot of people will be like, well, I'm doing all this, I'm not getting any sales. And I was explaining this to Sam earlier this morning, and I broke it down to him thinking about if a new restaurant pops up into your local neighborhood, you know, most people need to see something exposed to anything at least 7 times on average. There's an actual statistic out there that backs it up. I would arguably say it's more than 7 times because most people are very indecisive in nature when it comes to about anything, and whether it's what to go out to eat, you know, what to do for the night, you know, making plans. So when it comes to buying a business opportunity or buying some kind of product, you need to expose your customer to that offer several times before they decide. I get people who have been on my list for 3 or 4 months, and they just keep reading my emails. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, you got me, I'm buying. And I'll ask them, I'll be like, how long have you been on my list? And they'll say, like, they've been reading my emails for 4 months, and then that email really resonated with them. And that's why you need to hit them with different angles, like, you know, tell stories, share different things that are going on in your life. You know, most people, when they're on your list, and I was telling Sam about this morning, my favorite email marketer's name is Ben Settle, and he calls his emails infotainments. And basically he writes the emails in a way that's kind of like a comic book. Every day, people want to open his emails just to see what he's writing about, what he's talking about. So people are buying from you. They're not really buying necessarily the product. They're buying from the person they trust and they want to work with. So you need to mix in stories and stuff like that, which is something that a lot of marketers don't do. And this doesn't have to be really hard. You just need to expose them to the offer often. So you could be telling about what you did for the weekend with your family, and then at the end say, hey, by the way, if you want to learn how to actually have more time with your family, check out this link. I mean, it's literally that simple. You just need to find a way to get them to click that link and see value in what you're promoting. But you got to expose them to the offer often.
Hey, by the way, that little sound icon on the lower right below the chat box, click that so it doesn't make the clicking noise every time somebody texts in there.
Yeah, I was wondering where that's coming from.
Because when I was doing with the Empower Network buying leads for that business, it was cheap, but they were crappy leads. Like I probably got my leads for $1.50, but they were bad. I mean, these people, I don't know if they even were vetted for BizOp type leads. Like I mean, you deal with publishers. You know what I'm talking about? You send a publisher $2,000, $3,000, and they send guaranteed, so many people to your page and clicks and things like that. Yeah. So if you're looking to buy cheap traffic, but not cheap in the sense it's bad, is it solo ads? I know you do a lot of training on solo ads. Is that what you'd recommend?
Let me explain about cheap traffic, because I really just don't like that metaphor. And this is something that everybody doesn't realize, and this is something me and Sam were talking about this morning about say you're in a business opportunity when you're positioned. It's not about cheap traffic, it's about targeted traffic. So for me, I don't care if in the end I'm paying $5 a lead. If it spits out another dollar on the other end, then I'm in a profitable business. And really, this business is all math. Like, most people think it's all about getting cheap clicks. Like, if I can get 5-cent clicks on Facebook, it's going to convert better. But really, all it matters at the end of the day is that whatever you're spending, you're in profit, or you're at least breaking even. So, the cheapest traffic source, yes, is probably going to be solo ads. You still got to dig around to find good sources, but what you want to understand is that you're probably not, like something like a business opportunity, whether it be Mob, DS Domination, something like that, right? You're not going to probably make a whole lot of sales initially. You're going to make the sales in the back end, and that's why for me, I told you guys in the last webinar to set up different campaigns in your autoresponder. The only thing I do is monitor those people are opening those emails, so that way I know these are real people. It's not junk traffic, because if they're opening your emails continuously, that means they're at least interested in what you're selling. So most of my sales, and I can tell you, maybe I'm doing it wrong, I don't know, but I've never been good at getting sales initially. And most of the bigger marketers I've read what they've said, they even said too, it's all about relationship building. And for me, people buy from me, at least that I've asked, is that they trust me, not just because I send some cool fancy email. Now, I do have people on my list that are more the opportunity shoppers, and they're probably buying based off some of the emails I send. But for the most part, when you have somebody, especially something like Mob, that are buying into something that's more high ticket, and it's more like a full-scale business opportunity, my emails are dedicated to those people that are like serious about business. They're not just looking to get rich tomorrow, and they understand it takes money to make money. And over time, what happens is you wear people down. Like there's a lot of people. I mean, it amazes me. I have one guy. This guy blows me away. He liked me so much. He spent over $100 to put a care package together for me and my parents, with actually the T-shirt that I'm wearing that says Sarasota, Florida, and put all these pamphlets and everything. So the guy's pretty much anchored in. This guy's got basically free coaching coming to him in a roundabout way. So I'm sure he listened to what I said on Facebook about getting in good with people and stuff like that. So he went out of his way to do all this stuff to send all this stuff to me. But what it was is he's been on my list for probably a solid 6 months, and then he just liked the style of my writing. He liked how I speak. He resonated with me when I got the Harley, because he's a Harley rider. So this guy went out of his way to send me a care package out of his own money. Now every time I say that I need a video or anything, he'll go out and film a video of Sarasota, Florida, the areas to go. So when you create a really email subscribers that like you, not only will you'll find weird things. They'll buy from you even after they've been on your list for 6 months down the line. And this guy literally saved up money to buy Mob. And he didn't have the money initially, but he's seen the value in working with me so much, and he liked just me from telling stories and what I do in my life, and how, like, for instance, my business is pretty much dedicated to my parents. And that was why he resonated with me and bought from me. There's plenty of other people promoting Mob, but at the end of the day, people buy from the person they like. They don't, when they go, like, I call it sponsor shopping. When they look who they want to buy under, they're going to join. People do nice things for their friends. And this is why, like, for instance, like Sam, when I went to him, and he was just blown away, and he even had to ask my dad, is this kid for real? And when you feel like somebody is your friend, you'll do nice things for your friends that you won't do for somebody that's not your friend. So for me,
Right.
I felt like Sam was my friend before I ever even talked to him face to face or anything. I mean, I talked to him on Skype once, but that's not much. But when you feel like somebody's your friend or you know them personally, and the only reason I would have known Sam personally is because I've listened to his story so much, I followed his emails, I followed his podcast, and that's where all that content comes in handy to sell whatever you're selling, because there's no real hard selling once you've built up that relationship. It's almost like a effortless transition.
Yeah. No, you're right. Relationship. We have a couple of success stories too inside the hangout tonight. Plan to success. Now, who is that? What is the name? I know that person. Type your name in the chat box. Check this out, Zach. 260 leads from zero before she came into the six-figure Saturday. We've got 12% open rate on the emails, and now she wants to monetize it. I put in there, just create an ebook, sell it for $7, get the graphics done on Fiverr if you want a really sharp product. The reason why I say that, because number one, you want to get your list conditioned to hit the buy button, because once they hit the buy button for a $7 product, it's easier then. They'll hit the buy button for a $97 product, and they'll, thank you, Kay. Once they hit the buy button on $7, it's no different. They hit the buy button for $97 or $197. You want to get them conditionally like, I sent Kay money. It doesn't really matter how much money I've sent Kay. It's just I know now that I've sent her money, so I'm comfortable sending Kay money, because when I sent Kay money, she sent me the product that she said I was going to receive, and it was top quality product. So let's say it costs Kay. If she has 12%, let's just round it up to 300, because her list is going to be 300 soon. So let's say she gets 36 people opening her emails. You need to get those people then to click the link. That's probably another 10%. These rates, see, here's the thing. People have a list of 1 million people and 100,000 people, blah, blah, blah. But their click-through rates are very low. Their open rates are very low. They're just operating on volume. Kay, your open rate's probably going to be much higher than 10% because of they're a brand new lead. You're building a relationship. Hopefully you're sending them several emails per week telling them about you and what you do and how you can help them and a lot of problems you see that you're out there solving. So let's say 30% of the 30 people, let's say 10 to 12 people click through and go to your sales page or your ebook, and you sell a few. Let's say you sell 5 ebooks at $7 a pop. Now you've monetized that. Now you didn't just earn $35. You've now got 5 new people that have sent you money, and they're probably going to, of those 5, like Zach was talking about, a number of them are ready to send you more money now. Okay, there's the trust now that's been built. So in reverse and going back to the very beginning of the hangout, the real key is to develop a list, and with that list, develop a relationship. And you got to be very careful how you speak on social media. You got to be very careful how you speak in your emails. There's a lot of victims out there. There's a lot of people who boo-hoo. There's a lot of people who say, hey, join my business, and then in the next minute they're putting all their dirty laundry out on social media for people to see. And the reason I think Zach has a tremendous amount of success in the businesses that he does is because his posts are always positive. They're very uplifting. They're very helpful. So when Zach says and puts every now and again puts a link out there to buy this or go here or check this out, people are more apt to do that and join his team. And guys, none of the things that we're talking about tonight is difficult to do, but you got to probably go back in and listen to the Massive Momentum audio series again, because that's going to give you permission to play big. It's going to give you permission to have the mindset and to position yourself as a Zach Crawford, because the only difference between Zach, tell the story where you said, this shit's got to end, all right? When you were crossing the boat, you said you probably had less than $5,000, and you were just done, dude. You were fed up. And this was January, right?
All right. So a lot of you guys probably know, I after my motorcycle accident, I went through a lot of depression, a lot of, even in the Philippines, like when I was up and down. I mean, there was months I was doing 5,000. There was months I was doing 2,000. There was months I hit like 20,000, and I dipped back down until I was broke again. And there was at one point where I was almost ready just to call it quits and say, hey, I'm not cut out for this. I'm just coming home. And, part of that's because my personal life was all out of order. And, honestly, I wasn't studying personal development as much as I should. So that goes back to what he's saying, because there was a time when I just kind of stopped doing all that. You really need to be listening to personal development every single day. It's not something you do when you feel good. It's something you do every day. So it's conditioned into your mind, because the minute you stop doing it, when things go wrong, you start to dwell on everything else that's going wrong, and then you start to think, well, can I do this? Am I smart enough? But to go back to what he was talking about, I was essentially broke in January, and I had probably
6 months ago.
Yeah. How much do you think?
Yeah.
I had? $5,000? Okay, so probably less than $5,000 from the look on his face. So I was basically down to, I could get a plane ticket home, but I was SOL at that point. And so on the boat ride over I had to move from Cebu. I lived with a roommate that just wasn't working out. We were at wit's end with each other, and I just had to go. And when I went back to Manila, I had to transport my dogs and all my stuff and rode a boat. Otherwise, I would have flew. But on that boat ride over, I had a ton of time to think. And, I was just tired of being depressed. I was fed up of my business being all over the place. And, really, I had no money. I was blogging. This is where the blogging come in. And, I built up the blog where it was getting me steady lead flow. But this goes to show you it's not about how I was getting maybe 20 leads a day, 30 leads at best. And I did not have a massive list. I think I was working off a list of like 2,600 to 2,900 at the time. And, I was just so fed up of being broke, and I said, all right, this shit's got to end right now. And I told myself that I was going to make $30,000 in the next 30 days. I had no clue how in the world I was going to do it. I just joined Mob, but I didn't know how I was going to do it, really. I just said, I'm going to sell the heck out of this, and I'm going to find a way to get back, because I was wanting to go home. This was going on year 2 of being away from my family, not seeing my parents, and missing 2 Christmases. So I was depressed already. And I said, man, I'm getting home in the next 60 days. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but in the next 30, I'm going to make $30,000, and I'm going to get my ass home in 60 days. Well, I made $30,000 my first week after being back in Manila. And that was just because I was so pissed off and so frustrated. I was just like, I'm going to sell the heck out of this. So I started blasting the heck out of my list and telling them why they needed Mob and why they needed to join. And I could have did it with Empower Network or any product. It wasn't the product. I mean, it helped that I believed in what I was selling because I love it. But it was me. They could see in my voice. They could hear me in the videos. They could hear me in the emails. When I was writing, the emails had to probably grab them by the heart, pull them through the screen. And that's the difference when somebody trusts you that they're on their list. You can have a list of 2,600 and trump a marketer that has a list of 30,000 that just abuses their list. And
what's your open rates and click-through rates on emails? I'm curious.
I don't know. I sent out an email last night and it got about 650 opens, so I don't know. Like AWeber's all different now. They used to have open rate percentage, but like 612 opens last night, 187 clicked. Some days I can get as much as 500 clicks a day. It just depends. My list is not massive. Now I'm getting ready to dump a crap ton of money. Like, I told you this morning I got 27,000 in PayPal and I just want to burn through it in 45 days. But I've been comfortable, so I haven't had to scale my list like most marketers. Like most people are having to buy leads like it's their job because they don't really care about anybody. For me, where I've kind of babied my list and I figure out what they want and I answer their questions and stuff like that. I don't have to spend nearly as much now. I'm at the point now I want to. There's 6 months left in the year basically. I want to hit that 100,000 a month before then. So it all just comes down to making a decision, and that's where the mindset really comes in, because I think that was part of it. Now I think about it, I was actually listening to motivational audios when I was, and that's when I just decided, you know what, other people did it, so can I. And I used to think all the stories, like back when I was in Empower Network, I used to think all that stuff about, you can just decide in a moment and make it happen was just complete BS. And then when I made the decision, it really did happen that fast. And it was just because I was so torn up, there was really no other choice but to go up. And that's why, like, for me, when people talk about excuses, I don't really buy into it, because it really just comes down to deciding you've had enough and you're going to make it work at all costs. And for me, when people come to me and they say I don't have the money for something, that's why I laugh at them, because I've been in that position. And for me, when you don't have the money and you don't have the money to invest in something like a business opportunity, that's the very reason you should be investing in it, because you're so financially in ruins that you need to get your financial situation in a better spot. So for me, I sacrificed everything from clothes to doing fun stuff to things that a lot of people spend money on, Starbucks, and I was investing my money in a business. But it really just comes down to making a decision. And I agree. The mindset every day is key. Especially, you need to double up on it when you're feeling bad, and you need to be listening to it consistently every day, even when you're feeling good.
Yeah, you're right, because it's a situation where Kay has a list now of 260 people, and let me answer Dustin's question. Dustin, should I start marketing Moab outside my list? Hold off on that for a little while there, Dustin. There might be something to that. Yeah, I think people like. There's a thing though. Kay has a list of 260 people now. Okay, she had no list a month ago, and I'm using her as an example here, not because we're not saying anybody's better than anybody. I'm just saying Kay's been fortunate now to get 260 people on her list. She can get 2,600 people on her list this month, because once you know how to get a couple hundred people on your list, then it's really just rinse and repeat. But what you really got to do now that you have those people is you want to start segmenting who's the buyers versus who's the tire kickers versus, you want to kind of tell people, look, this is what I do. I'm going to be offering you opportunities and products and things like that in this area. Mine happens to be every day is Saturday is really about not having a boss. Really, that's what my whole brand is about. So whatever that means to somebody, if that means joining the next business opportunity I get involved in, if that means seeing me speak, if that means hiring me as a coach, whatever that means to them, and their freedom, getting them to their very own Saturday, that's what I sell. What you sell has to be congruent with what you're really passionate about, because when you have a list and you can send an email about what you're really, because for some people, writing emails is work. For me, writing an email isn't work. I write very long emails. Sometimes I write an 800-word email. Sometimes I write an 8-word email and just send them to a blog post or a video. It just depends on what I'm feeling. But it never feels like work to me, So when you really love the, where you're at and the space you're in, and mix it up, have fun, be very, especially with your social media posting, be engaging, be unique. Don't talk about the same thing everybody else is talking about. That's boring, Talk about, like, I posted probably 5 videos of that concert I was at last night. I don't think anybody even knew I knew who Dougie Fresh is, man. And I grew up with hip hop rappers in the '80s. I was all about it, man. I was in heaven last night at the New Edition concert. I'm authentic. I'm just unique. That's who I am. That's what I do. And so when Zach joins a business, or I join a business, or we promote our own products and things like that, people buy interesting. You got to be in the interesting business, okay? You got to be in the interesting business. You got to make yourself stand out from the other individuals out there. To answer Dustin's question, it doesn't matter what you market. It doesn't matter what the product is. They're buying you. I mean, that's the whole thing. You could sell any product that you want to sell, but really, ultimately, think about it this way. Zach told a story about how he didn't exactly have a big love fest with his boss at the post office. Is that a fair statement, Zach?
Yeah.
But you don't know who the Postmaster General is of the United States of America. Have you ever met the Postmaster General?
No.
The person who actually runs the entire, postal system at $3 billion in debt, by the way. When people have an opinion about an organization, it's very rarely about the CEO or the CFO. It's about their immediate supervisor, who they base their entire self-worth and their happiness factor off of their direct supervisor, okay? Think about when you are selling products to people, you are the conduit between them and getting to their dream. Their only exposure to that is through you, seeing through your eyes. So what are your eyes seeing? Are your eyes seeing lack? Are your eyes seeing scarcity? Are your eyes seeing a lot of obstacles? Because that's what your readers online, social media, and in your email, that's what they're viewing the world through, your lens. And if they don't like viewing the world through your lens, they're going to go view it through somebody else's lens who's more positive and has a more definitive way of, and a greater vision. They're a big, big dreamer. Does that make sense? I mean, you have to be able to understand people are viewing the world through your lens, and if that's a cloudy, negative, woe is me lens, nobody's going to want to open your emails, follow you on social media, let alone ever buy a product from you. So I know nobody wants to hear that the mindset is where it starts, but I had Zach tell that story tonight because that's a powerful story. He shared that with me earlier today. And when he said this has to end, I think that's the turning point Zach had as far as, he didn't say this has to end, I'm going to go figure out how to build email lists and go buy books. He said this has to end, and combined with that came massive action. Like when you want to drill, I have this metaphor. Like when you want to drill a nail into a board, you can go tap, tap, chap, or you can grab a damn sledgehammer out of the garage, come in and pulverize that nail to the point where it turns to dust. And that's what Zach did when he finally got mad enough to says, I gotta just get this done. He reached for the sledgehammer and he just went to town, man. And that's really what you got to do. And so with the training that we're offering inside of Six Figure Saturday, all the video training is killer. It's great, and the stuff we're teaching on the Hangouts. But you got to reach for the sledgehammer after tonight, man. And you just got to say this success is not reserved for smarter people than me or more successful people. It's there waiting for me. I just got to follow what Sam and Zach are teaching me here, and I'll get there. A list of 260 people. You might be shocked to hear this, but I sold $125,000 of coaching to a list of less than that. Okay, less than 200 people. I sold 125 grand in 25 minutes. I spoke at an event, and about 150 people signed up for my mailing list from that event. I launched a coaching program right from there, wrote it on a little Post-it note about what my program was going to be, and I had people call me. Okay, so I sent an email to my list of 150 people and said, hey, call me. And I said, reply back and say, call me. So I was calling them. Sam was calling them. Put your number in the email. Anybody that wanted to hear about my coaching program sent their phone number to me. I picked up the phone and called them, and I sold $125,000 of coaching in 25 minutes for a program that didn't even exist. Why? Because I reached for the sledgehammer. And I just said, this is it, man. I'm launching my coaching program. And how many people would like to make 100 grand in 20 minutes? You're smarter than I am. I didn't even know what I didn't know. I didn't even have a program. I just made it up. Now, it was good. I made it up on the fly. It was damn good. But I was forced to make it up as a result of throwing myself out there and saying, hey, I now have a coaching program. So that's why I'd asked Zach to share that story. And I think it's just, I think it's powerful that when you watch the videos about list building and blogging and YouTube videos and things like that, just pick one. Go with it, reach for the sledgehammer, and crush it. Zach, your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. Like, for me, I have a couple points to add to that. One is that, you have to just make that decision. You have to jump at a certain point. When your vision surpasses, what the how-tos are, you'll figure out the how-tos on how to do all of it. Like, your vision should be so big about what you want to achieve, how much money you want to make. Like, I tell people this all the time, and I learned this from Frank Kern. You need to know down to your day what would you do if your job was not in the way. What would your ideal day look like? What car would you drive? What color would it be? What size house and how big of a house would you be in? Would you live in the same state? You need to have your vision so laser clear that, for me, my vision was Florida. Now, September, I'm going to Sarasota, Florida. You need to have that vision so laser focused down to the detail, what you would do, how you would do it, and your ideal day. Don't factor in money. I mean, no matter how big it is, if you want a Lambo sitting in your driveway, that needs to be in your vision. It needs to scare you. It needs to be so big that it does make you a bit terrified when you think about achieving it. Because when your vision is massive, now you're working towards what you want to get to. And that was what got me there. For me, I wanted to retire my mom. I wanted to move to Florida. I know down to the T what I wanted to achieve. And that was what drove me forward. Now, the next thing I would say, like where he was talking about working off a small list, here's the key of how I did it, and now I'm working a bit different direction. So what I do is a little bit different than what you should do. As far as now, I'm working off numbers. Like, for me, I'm moving less away from hand-holding, where basically I focus a lot of my time on answering every single question that comes through, because I'm getting big enough now that it's a very unmanageable task to answer every single email as soon as they come through, or every single Facebook message. You can only do that to so big. But if I was going to start all over again, I would do the same thing. I would make it so people can reply to my emails. They can ask me questions on Facebook. They basically know that they can get a hold of me, because when people feel like you're there to help them or you're there to coach them, they're much more willing to spend their money with you. Because especially in this industry, we're talking make money online, there's a lot of shady marketers out there just like, bye, goodbye, and then they're off to the next one. I get people that come to me from other companies, or even the same companies I'm in, and the marketers promised them that they were going to answer their questions and everything, and the minute they bought, they just kicked them to the curb. For me, still to this day, some of the people that are on this, one person actually joined me in Mob. If they send me a question, I answer almost immediately, as long as I'm online. And when you give people that they feel like they trust you and they know that you're not there just to take their money and kick them to the curb, they're going to be much more willing to help you. And by help you, I mean give you money in return. So when you're starting out with that smaller list, here's the kind of stuff I'd be writing emails about. Sam was talking about it earlier. You are the middleman from, you know, whatever product you're selling. But the product is not what they're buying. They're buying what the product can do for them. It will give them that ideal life that I just talked about. It will allow their kids to go to college without them being in massive amounts of debt. You got to understand, whatever product you're selling, you need to sit down take a notepad of paper and think about logically what is the ideal person that would buy this, and that's who you're talking to in your emails. For me, where I sell high ticket, it's not people my age, because most people my age are broke, to be quite honest. So for me, you know, it's people that are about 35 to 60. I know my market. So I don't write emails talking about stuff that the 27 and below are going to like. I write emails targeting to the people where they want, you know, a better lifestyle for their family. They want, you know, the college paid for their kids. They want to be able to provide a better lifestyle for their children. So you need to tailor your messages and your emails to what those people want, because they don't want a business opportunity. They want what that business opportunity will do for them. So you're selling the benefits, not the course.
You know, one question I have, though, when you are positioning that way, you still got to have this list. So, for example, if Dustin wants to stay and sell his ebook that he is positioning there, you want to, when he starts building his list and putting it on social media, should Dustin be talking about the challenges that are faced within that niche and then come back with the solution to that? I mean, is that what you're saying? Like, put the pain, I'm hearing you say put the pain out there and then come behind it with the solution, then check out my ebook.
Okay, so here's what my favorite email marketer that I was talking about earlier says. He basically says, find what their problems are, but then rub salt in the wound. And basically what he means by this is expose the issues that they're really struggling with. If anybody's following me on Facebook, if you read just a half of my post, you'll know that the topics I'm talking about, like, very rarely, I post income every now and then, but only because basically I was explaining this to Sam earlier, because my mentor pushed me to do that. I don't like talking about income, because to me it's like I don't really like sharing that kind of thing. But I talk mainly about stuff like what it is people struggle with, like especially in the Make Money Online niche. Some of the main problems people struggle with is they want to build a business, but say maybe their spouse thinks that they're crazy and they've lost their mind and they're just blowing their money. And so the other topic people struggle with is how people doubt them. People think they're silly, kind of like the water cooler talk that Sam refers to a lot in his podcast and stuff like that. You know, you have people doubting you, and that's one of the biggest things people struggle with. It's not so much getting the work done. It's people throwing salt in their wound, but there's no solution. They're knocking them down. Like, you know, they have their goal, what they want to achieve, and there's a lot of people out there trying to knock their goals. So I talk about a lot of the top topics that my market struggles with. Things I know that they need somebody to make them feel like they're going to be able to push through. Because I know what my market wants, because I went through those struggles myself.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard. Like for instance, Dustin, his niche is it's like, I guess, in the fishing niche, if I remember right. So what he would want to talk about is stuff that market likes. It doesn't necessarily need to be so much the problems, but I wouldn't suggest, unless it's a fan page. Now, a fan page, every now and then you can advertise your product, but you know, maybe you put the link there every now and then, but you don't want to just blast the product in front of their face on social media all the time. For me, I hardly ever. People have to message me for really to even know what I promote most of the time.
But so, Dustin will be a good candidate when we come back in with the Facebook ad training in a couple weeks to learn how to build his list from targeted individuals who have hunting and fishing, for example, as their interest on Facebook, which is millions of people. He could build a huge list, targeted list, once we dial in the Facebook ads.
So here's how I would do it for Dustin, and this is something like I actually, you know, kind of like you're talking about creating niche sites, and this is kind of the direction I want to go into. I want to create like niche sites in other industries I have know nothing about. And basically how I would do it is I would go out there, especially outside of the Make Money Online niche, the clicks are really cheap, but I would go and create a big email list, or I'd create a big fan page, and then I would get those people onto my email list. And then I would have like an autoresponder sequence going out with different chunks of information, stuff that really resonates with that audience. Create valuable blog posts that, you know, answer their questions and pertain to them. And then at the end of the blog post, I would have the solution. There's the product. So I would get them on my email list. I would get them to the blog post. I would give them the information that they're seeking that I know that they want. And then at the end, I would frame up my offer like, here's the solution to do that. That's how I would do it.
Yeah.
Every industry,
guys, right there. Yeah.
Every industry is different, but even though every industry is different, it all comes down to the same thing. What do people want? And you put the offer in front of them. And this is where a lot of people think, like, especially with business opportunities, like, oh, just here's a product to make money. Like, for the thing that drives me nuts, like with Mob, is with the company I'm in, everybody's running ads like how to make $1,000, $3,000, and $5,000 commissions. Guys, nobody gives a crap. They don't. There's so many products out there that can teach them how to make $1,000, $3,000, and $5,000 commissions. They don't need you to put that in front of them again. You need to get them on your email list first, and then educate them why that your product is going to be the one to help them, and why they need to join you, because you're the solution, not Mob. And that's the difference between me and most affiliates. Is I don't ever brand the company. I don't ever brand the product as a solution. I brand myself, and whatever I'm in is what they should be in.
Yeah, that's good. So, guys, listen, that's great advice. What Zach just went through as far as developing the blog posts, the video tutorial, whatever it is to alleviate the pain. People want to get out of pain, and the pain could be something substantial, or it could be something like, hey, I want to make a couple extra bucks. I want to learn how to hunt, fish, things like that. I want to learn how to whatever that is. They want to learn more. They want to, what they're saying? I want to have an interesting life. I want to develop myself either personally, financially, whatever it is. Can you make my life more interesting? And if you're a boring, vanilla, milquetoast, woe is me person, you're not going to be the person that they want to view the world through. If you're interesting, you don't got to be a stand-up comedian. You just got to be interesting. So what they're really saying is help me have more fun in my life. Maybe people associate money with having more fun, more freedom, things like that. Other people may know about Buddhism or something that makes it more fun. Other people want to find yoga. I mean, Pilates, whatever it is, how to fix stuff around your house. Whatever that, there's millions, guys, there's 6 billion people on the planet, okay? So there's more than enough niches to go around for everybody, all right? There's not enough internet marketers. I know everybody thinks everything's been saturated and picked over and picked through and everything like that, but there's not enough internet marketers out there, oddly enough, even, as much as spam we get in our inbox, to even come close. It's like taking a thimble full of water out of the ocean. That's how much opportunity is still left behind after all of this internet marketing is going on. So just be very specific on what your niche is and who your target is. And like Kay did and other people have done through the training, build a couple hundred people on your list. And now, guys, they are now ripe for you, because you know what's going to happen. 6 months from now, they're moving on to another marketer. All right. Some are going to stay with you, and they'll be on your list for a long time, maybe for the next 10 years. Most are going to be distracted, like most human beings are, and they're going to go. Most people get on a website, they click, they click, they click. They think they're shopping for vitamins, and then they buy a television on Amazon. Okay. That's just how distracted people get. So right now is the perfect time for you to make your offer to them and use the little $17 offer. You'll shock yourself on when you get that PayPal payment. You don't even need a merchant account. Just send them through PayPal, and use that. I think now is the time to go for it, because the past 6 weeks we've been talking about kind of building your brand and getting the traffic going and really how to put this whole thing together. Blogging is inexpensive. It's free. I'm doing it now. I put my first 2 blog posts out there. I had to stop myself from writing. I got up to about 1,100, 1,200 words. I've got everydaysaturday.com/blog. And I got my site hacked last week, so I blogged about that. The time before, I blogged about the day before that. Here's the Murphy's Law. I did about, and the only reason I know the word count is because it counts it at before you hit publish, it says 1,200 words. I don't count the words, but they were long posts, and I could have written 5,000 words. I could not stop myself from writing because I really enjoy it. I just got to focus on doing it. I emailed my list. Everybody on my list got the email to check out my first blog post forever, and my site crashed. Nobody saw the post, really. So I started getting these replies. The link doesn't work. Your site's down. So what did I do? Did I cry? Did I boo-hoo? No. I'll be honest with you. I might have dropped an expletive real quick. But then I emailed Zach. I said, hey, man, can Ava help out? I just need a little bit. I emailed my buddy Phil. I just started emailing everybody. Phil just happened to be around on 4th of July. Within an hour, he had me back up and running. But blogging is free. It's a great way to build relationships. And now I want to get my blog. I am copying Zach. The only thing I'm not doing is I'm not getting the tattoos. That's the only thing. All that other stuff, though, I'm going to be mirroring exactly what he's doing with the opt-in box there and building my list through blogging, because I'm going to go after long-tail keywords. And guys, just watch what we're doing. Just watch us, okay?
Oh,
But after you watch us, implement your own strategy. Go ahead, Zach.
So somebody just said something basically that totally different way to promote products that are saturated because everyone is marketing the same company, replicated the same way. So here's my thing. Saturation is a complete myth. Like there's literally enough room in this planet for everybody to be a millionaire and money to still flow. And this is something that a lot of people like. Most of the money is controlled by like 1 to 3% of the people in the world. So if everybody was a millionaire, nobody would be affected. There would still be plenty of money to be made. And the whole saturation thing, like I'm no longer in a power network, and I see people saying it's saturated, and that's complete BS. There's enough room that people can still promote that. And here's what you got to understand: there's people coming into this business every single day. The economy is not getting any better, no matter what they tell you on the TV. So there's people coming in every single day looking for how do I make money online, and that's why I like this niche better than anything, because this is the only niche that when the economy goes down, you get richer. It's that simple. And that's why I like this. It's not because it's easy to sell people business opportunities. It's because I know that while everybody else is complaining about how their niche is hurt, I'm going to be laughing because it's not going to hurt me one bit. And the thing is, you got to realize is that if you don't go out there and give it your all, you're going to regret when you're like 60, 70, or the day you go to your grave, the things you didn't do over the chances that you did. I know for me, like, I would rather lose $20,000 investing in paid traffic and say I did it and I got the experience and I didn't make it work than saying, well, what if I would have did that? Could have it made me $200,000, or what if it actually paid off? The what ifs will kill you guys. If you sit around and think what if, like this weekend, and I told you earlier about how I made $4,000. I spontaneously come up with that idea 10 minutes before I left. If I wouldn't have did that, and I was worried that I was going to piss my list off because I emailed them all weekend, I got plenty of unsubscribers, but I can replace those people now because I got $4,000 additional in my PayPal account. So the thing is if I would have sat there and said, well, nah, maybe I don't because I've been emailing them a lot. It might upset them a little bit because they're on 4th of July vacation. I would have lost $4,000 that I didn't have. So don't sit back and think, what if, or should I do this? Just do it. You're going to learn from experience. Like, I've messed up more things than I've made successful, but if I wouldn't have messed those things up, I would not know what to do is right. And that's where a lot of people, they're too concerned about the what ifs, and all you need to do is throw a whole lot of crap against the wall and see what sticks. And that's really been my mentality from day one. And that's why I've scaled so fast, is because I'm not afraid to fail. I know that I'm going to fail. I'd rather fail fast and figure out how to counter into it so that way I can make it right.
Yeah. And a lot of you live in the most dangerous nation in the world, and that is procrastination. All right, get off your rusty duff and get something done this week, okay? And stop worrying about you didn't get results last week or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Just make it happen, because if you continuously have focused action, and I use the word focused in front of the word action because it's really important and you're not scattered. If you do focused action, blogging every day, had you started blogging when we first launched Six Figure Saturday on May 28th, and you would now have 35, 40 posts, really good content-rich blog posts out there indexed in Google, getting views, getting traffic. Don't look back in December and say, geez, if I started blogging in May, at June 1st, when I first came on board with Sam and Zach, I would have 180 blog posts out there. You know what I'm talking about? So you can start right now and change course, and I would highly recommend you do that. We can't force you to do it, but if you really want to make every day Saturday, you got to do it. Zach, we'll wrap it up. You got any closing thoughts for tonight?
No, just get it done, guys. I mean, what he said is you don't want to be in December and thinking, man, I wish I would have applied this, because I did that for 2 years. I mean, literally, part of the reason I was broke and it took me up till January to really hit it off is because I spent more time wondering stuff like, and there was a lot of times when I was building my blog, I almost quit. And I kept saying, man, this is never going to take off. This is going to never take off. It took me 6 straight months of blogging my heart out to get that foundation built up where I got tons of traffic. And then by building that up, when I did make that mindset shift, I had things in place that I was able to get fresh leads so I could do it. But if I wouldn't have did it, even when I made that mindset shift, I would have had to figure out at that point, how am I going to get the leads? I would have figured it out because I had the right mindset, but everything comes down to building a foundation. You may strike it fast in 2 months, it may be 6 months, or maybe a year. But if you don't start now, you're behind the gun, and you always want to you want to keep going in a straight direction and believe in what you're doing, no matter what. And even if it does take you longer than 90 days or whatever it is you've set in your head, don't fall down and think, oh, it's not working, and quit, because that's not going to get you anywhere. Everybody has a different learning curve, and I'll be honest, a lot of people have messaged me asking me how to do technical things. I really do not know how to do technical stuff. Like, if it's not something like lead pages where I can just copy stuff in like an autoresponder code, I don't know how to do it. So the thing is everybody has a different learning curve. There's people that are more technical than me, but they aren't making any money because they're too focused on making sure that squeeze page is pretty or whatever. To me, I just throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what works and then run with it. And that's the mentality you need to have. And a lot of times, if you're a perfectionist, which I used to be, it's going to stop you a long time. I told Sam earlier that the difference between where I'm at now, I checked my ego at the door. I used to think that emailing my list daily was a bad thing. It was going to upset them because there will be people to say, hey, I can't read all your emails or I can't digest all this because it's too much. Well, at the end of the day, you can't please everybody, and you're never going to be able to. So whatever you see successful people doing, model it. Don't think, well, he's emailing too much, or that I don't like what they're doing, because that's probably going to upset people. Whatever, if you're not successful yet, model after what successful people do, because there's a reason they're doing it. They don't do what they do just for the heck of it. They're doing it because it works, and that was the key for me, is to put my ego at the door, because I'm a very egotistical person. And I had to literally do what they told me to do, or do what they were doing.
Yeah, great point. You gotta look. Don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid to screw up. Don't be afraid to look bad, and don't be afraid to make a couple mistakes, because what's right around the corner for you is big time paydays and purpose and passion. All the great things that people want in their life, But you're not going to have all that stuff being average, sitting around going to a job, or not trying something just because you're going to make a mistake or you're going to fail. That doesn't cut it. You're on this training and you want to be an entrepreneur for all the right reasons. You want to enjoy your life. 10 years from now, if it took you 3 years to figure all this stuff out and live your life that you've always wanted, 3 years, chances are it's going to probably take more like less than a year to get to where you want to go. I say that simply because I know people who take focused action have fast results. That's been documented. That's pretty much guaranteed. I don't know what time frame that looks like for everybody. For some people, Kate goes from 260 leads maybe to 26,000 people on her list in 6 months. That's happened, But you really, guys, it's in your hands. Let's wrap up tonight's hangout. I'm going to put the recording inside the members area. Hit us up inside the Facebook group. If you have any questions, we'll be in there this week answering questions. I'm going to go into some more. I'm taking massive action this week. You're going to get a few emails from me. I'm changing up some things in my own business. Getting involved in some other type of things that I'll talk to you guys about. First, I'm going to mention it to the Six Figure Saturday group, and then gradually drip it out to my list. And so, Zach, we are done with this hangout. That's a wrap, and we'll see you guys back on the next hangout and inside the Facebook group. All right, take care, everybody. Thanks, Zach.
See you.